Hello everyone and welcome back to English with Lucy. Today I have brought you to my favourite window, and outside of this window is my favourite tree. It's a willow tree. Many of you might not know this about me. Some of you might know this, but I live on a farm in England, and I thought it would be nice for you to see some of the surroundings in the farm whilst we do this lesson. Let me know if you like it or if you find it distracting. Now, in this lesson, I'm going to talk to you about motivation, but more importantly, about the perfect study routine. I know that lots of you feel that you lack motivation, and one thing that can really help is implementing a good study routine. But that can feel quite daunting. Daunting means intimidating or something that seems very difficult or scary. In this video, I am going to help you out. I'm going to show you how you can incorporate and include every English language skill into different parts of your day. We will start with the morning, move on to the daytime, then to the afternoon, and then to the evening. Quickly, I have some housekeeping. If you want to receive news and lessons from me, then sign up to my email list where I'll be keeping you all updated. The link is in the description box. So shall we get started? So let's start with the morning. Now, are you a morning person? That's the first question. A morning person is someone who is great in the mornings. You can also call them an early bird. The opposite of this would be a night owl, somebody who thrives in the nighttime. Tell me if you're an early bird or a night owl. My problem is that in the mornings, my eyes are blurry and I can't read anything, I can't watch anything on the TV. So I think that the best skill to practice in the morning is your listening skills. And this is a good thing to do because for many students, the listening skills are their least favourite skills to learn. It's the skill that they struggle the most with. I know this because I learnt Spanish and Italian, and I was always petrified, really scared of the listening exams. Can anyone else relate to this? Reading, up here. Speaking, maybe here. Writing, up here. Listening, down here. It's a hard skill, it really is, so don't beat yourself up about it, don't give yourself a hard time. Instead, make your listening skills the first thing that you practice every single morning. I love it when my students ask for listening practice recommendations because I have so many recommendations, and I'm going to put them in the description box, but I'll talk about some of them here. A great one is to find a daily podcast, a nice short podcast, something that you enjoy listening to in English, and make a habit of listening to it first thing every morning. Maybe you're in bed, maybe you've just got up and you're having a coffee. One that's really relevant at the moment, the BBC have a global coronavirus update every morning, and it's only around 6 minutes long, and it covers the world so you can know what's going on with the coronavirus around the world. That's a good recommendation if you want to know relevant vocabulary. Another is BBC News. I especially like Radio 4. Another really great one is Luke's English podcast. This is one I often recommend to my students. I will leave his website down there as well. He started that podcast in 2009 and he has made so many fantastic episodes. One thing I will recommend, if you're listening to a shorter episode, try to listen to it twice. I know it can be boring, but it's so helpful if you can do that. And if you can find one with a transcript, listen to it with no transcript first and then read along with it the second time. This is more appropriate for the shorter podcasts. Right, so I recommend listening skills for the morning. Obviously, you can mix these around. These are just really good ideas for incorporating English practice into your daily life. This is what I would ideally do if I were learning a language. But let's move on to speaking skills. You can do this at any time of the day. I prefer to do it in the daytime. What about practicing speaking alone? Because that's something I know a lot of people have been asking about throughout the pandemic especially. Well, there are so many options and resources available for you, many of them free. Something that I loved doing when I was learning Spanish and Italian, Spanish in particular, was mimicking people. And they have no idea that I did this, but I found someone with an accent that I liked, and I would pause them and repeat it, and pause them and repeat it. I have actually uploaded quite a few videos with space for you to repeat the word after me or the phrase after me. I think I've done common idioms, common adjectives, common nouns as well recently. I'll link those down below, but definitely take advantage of the space that I leave afterwards to repeat after me, because it does work. Another thing that I really love to do is to narrate what I'm doing. I act as if I'm in a movie and that somebody is narrating my life, but there is one very specific situation where I do actually explain out loud what I am doing as I'm doing it in another language. So for you, this is probably English. For me, it's normally Spanish. I like to create my own personal cooking shows. I live on a farm. I'm marrying a farmer. I spend a lot of time alone. So when I cook, I try to make it a little more exciting for myself. And I explain to an invisible audience, an invisible TV camera, what I'm doing. And it is so good for practicing your speaking. Honestly, try it. And if you dare, film yourself and watch it later. Hilarious. Those videos will go with me to the grave. That means that I will die with these videos. No one else will see them. Right, shall we move on to the afternoon? So in the afternoon, I recommend that you practice your writing and your reading skills. I just feel that this is the perfect, relaxing time of day. If you are a student, you can take a break from studying. If you have a job and you work throughout the day, then I'm talking about taking a short break or doing this when you get home from work. Now, reading's quite an obvious one. I can recommend any sort of media like books, fiction, non-fiction, newspapers. One thing that I've discovered recently that I absolutely love is the Happy newspaper. I was getting really down and depressed about all of the negative news in the world, and whilst I still think it's important to read that news, I needed something that I could have for a bit of me time, a bit of positivity, and there is a newspaper called the Happy newspaper. I've checked and it's available internationally. It's a small newspaper that shares only happy, good stories. And so that could be a really nice option for you if every afternoon you just sit down and choose a number of good, happy stories that you're going to read. It could be 5, it could be 7, they're quite addictive. Or you could time yourself and say, right, I'm going to do 10 minutes of happy reading. I will link that particular newspaper down below. I am a subscriber. Let me know if you go for it, because I'd love to share opinions on the stories. I absolutely love it. What a great idea. Now, obviously there are books as well. I feel like I should make a separate video on books that are appropriate for each level of English. But there is one in particular that I will mention, and it's actually a series. It's Ollie Richards. He runs the website I Will Teach You a Language, and he has a series of books called Short Stories in so many languages. There is one in English. I've just ordered the Swedish one as well because I'm feeling particularly drawn to that language at the moment. So they're stories for beginners, but you can read at a nice pace, pick up new vocabulary. They're really fantastic. Again, link down below. I just think it's so lovely that there are short stories available for any beginner in a language. Now let's move on to writing. So in the afternoon or potentially the evening, I feel like some people might prefer the evening. It depends on how chaotic your household is. If you have a more peaceful time in the afternoon, then the afternoon is best. One thing I would really recommend is looking into bullet journaling. This is something that has been talked about extensively on YouTube. There was a real trend a couple of years ago with people showing their bullet journals, but don't discount how effective this can be for language learning. You can use bullet journals to track your exercise, your sleep, your food, but I would use it to track your vocabulary and your language skills that you've picked up and how you've been feeling when speaking in that other language and documenting what you've practiced. Another thing I will recommend is real pen pals. Okay, so a pen pal is somebody who you write to. And now there are lots of language exchange websites which are fantastic. I also recommend that you do that. But one thing that must not be forgotten is the power of a written letter and how it can make you feel and how it can motivate you. Receiving a letter that somebody has written to you by hand and having to write a written response, it almost provides an obligation to you. You feel that you must understand it completely and you must respond adequately. Sometimes in English, when we want to refer to postal mail, not email or anything online, we call it snail mail because it takes such a long time to travel, like a snail. And there's a website called globalpenfriends.com, and you can use that website to find a physical snail mail pen pal. See if you can find an English-speaking pen pal, or maybe another pen pal that is also learning English, and start a pen friendship with them. You can send gifts, postcards, talk about where you're from, what you like to do. It's a really fantastic way of practicing your writing. And if the other person agrees to it, you can ask them to send back your letter with corrections, but only if they are up for it. If they are writing to you in your language that they are learning, you can also return the corrections. Right, back to the evening. I really, really recommend going back to listening skills. You want to rest your eyes and just have something that will help you drift to sleep. And I found a fantastic app for this. It's called Calm. A friend actually recommended this app to me because I was having some trouble with some stress and I was struggling to go to sleep. I was struggling to let go of my phone as well. So now I can use this app, put my phone away and just listen. This app, Calm, has guided meditations and relaxing music, but most importantly, it has bedtime stories in English. And sometimes these stories are read by celebrities with very appealing voices. And as soon as I heard these stories, I just thought of my students. What a lovely way to go to sleep with English in your brain, but in a relaxing way. One final bit of language practice before you hit the pillow. There are also many other apps that have bedtime stories as well. I'm sure you can search for those, but I found Calm very good. Right, that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my favourite tree, but do let me know if you found it distracting or if you didn't like it. I won't do every video like this, but I enjoy showing you a little bit more about where I am and what I do. If you are interested in what I do in my daily life, then you can follow my vlogging channel. It's called Lucy Bella. I've got the link down there as well, and I show my life on a farm in the English countryside. Don't forget to connect with me on all of my social media. I've got my Facebook, my Instagram, and my email list, so you can receive emails from me. I will see you soon for another lesson. Mwah.